Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Psalms, the 9th chapter. To the chief musician upon Muthlaben, a psalm of David. I will praise thee, O Yahweh, with my whole heart. I will shew forth all thy marvelous works. That is to make public, all your great and marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. Meaning at the presence of the Lord, his enemies would retreat, but they're going to fall and end up being destroyed. I think it's in 2nd Esdras where it mentions, who shall not utterly be beaten to powder at his presence, at the presence of the Lord? For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne, judging right. Let's go into that in the NLT. It says, for you have judged in my favor. From your throne you have judged with fairness. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. And this is going to happen. Okay? The Lord is going to do this, when he establishes righteousness again. Let's go to the book to actually get this in the online King James Bible online. See, can we find this here? 2nd Esdras, 6th chapter. And 28. So actually start at verse 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. So if deceit was like a fire, it'll be quenched, right? It'll be put out. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. So as David is saying in Psalm 9, and verse 5, right? Thou hast rebuked the heathen, which are these other nations. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. And who is the embodiment of the wicked? Esau. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. And when you look in prophecy, this is what is going to happen, right? Their name and everything that comes with it, their memorial, what they're known and remembered for, is going to be all put out when the Lord comes back, starting with the destruction of their kingdom. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. All right, let's read this. In the NIV, it says, endless ruin has overtaken mine enemies. You have uprooted their cities. Even the memory of them has perished. And when the scriptures say, right, once again, looking prophetically and seeing the application of this to Esau, it says, be chased away. Yeah, Job 20:8, right? He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. When you have a dream and you wake up, sometimes some dreams you have, you don't even remember it. Sometimes you just know or have a feeling that you had a dream and you don't even remember what it is. But it doesn't really affect you in real life. It doesn't change, you wake up, you still live your life, you still go to work, you do what you have to do. So here, as David is saying, right, as we read, what verse is this? Reading this in the NIV again. Endless ruin has overtaken mine enemies. Who is our number one enemy? When you read Psalm 83, it lists the enemies of the Lord, and by default, the enemies of Israel. And the Lord has what? Brought ruin to overtake them, as he will. You have uprooted their cities. Even the memory of them has perished. And that's what's going to happen to our enemies, right? That's going to happen to, starting with Esau, Edom. Okay, his primary city, Babylon the Great, that's going to be destroyed. The memorial of it is going to perish. That's the point of making it a complete desert. Okay, so when you look at it, You don't see any, there ain't no Las Vegas, no New York, no, no Jersey, no Texas, no White House, no Empire State Building, none of it. Verse 7, but the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. See? And that's what the Lord is getting ready to do. He's getting ready to bring that judgment, because he's sitting on the judgment seat, and very soon he's going to give that green light, and the angels are going to let go of the destructive winds, which is going to commence that time of judgment like never before, okay, at the highest peak. Verse 8, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. Right, and that's what the Lord is going to do. Right, he's going to set the world back in its proper order by judging the wicked and removing them out of authority and ministering judgment or justice to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Okay, and who do the oppressed represent? When you look in the world today, historically, the oppressed represented those that sought righteousness, and it's still the same. But looking at it on a higher level amongst nations, the oppressed represents Israel. All right, the Israelites. And the Lord is going to be a refuge for them. The Lord is not going to be a refuge for, because on a detailed level, this is the righteous. On a higher level, on a national level, this is Israel. The Lord is not going to be a refuge for the Elamites. He's not going to be a refuge for the Moabites. He's going to be a refuge for his people. And it tells you that let's see. Going to show you that this is an example of Israel being what does it say here? The oppressed. First Maccabees 2 and start at 8, and this is dealing with the state of Israel. Wow, that came out very wrong. The condition that Israel, the land, or Jerusalem came to during the time of the Greek rule. So this is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? See, so of the world, we have been the nation that has been oppressed the most, likened unto the oppressed that the Lord is going to be a refuge for. Starting with the chosen of our nation, the elect, they're going to be the ones the Lord starts with, and then it expands to the rest of the nation. A refuge in times of trouble. And there are many other precepts that go into that, right? Jeremiah 30:7, but he shall be saved out of it. That's going to be through the Lord being a refuge, right, for his people. 2 Ezra 16, 70th verse on down. Behold, my beloved, right, the evil days come, but I will deliver you from the same. Verse 10, and they shall know thy name, or they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. Because those that know the name of the Lord, they labor, right, to seek the Lord. They seek him early, diligently. And that's why they're going to put their trust in him. Going back to Proverbs 18:10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and are safe. For thou, Yahweh, has not forsaken them that seek thee. The book of Sirach, the 2nd chapter, goes into that. Verse 11, sing praises to the Lord Yahweh, which dwelleth in Zion. So Zion is a representation of Israel, another name for Israel, or Jerusalem, which represents the people of Israel. And so if he dwells in Zion, because that's the place he chose to put his name, that goes to show you that he has declared ownership of them, that he is associating himself with them. Declare among the people his doings, right? So make known, make public the doings of the Lord. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. NLT, it says, for he who avenges blood, or Salakia, he who avenges murder, cares for the helpless. Right, because somebody may commit murder and may not be sought or found of the people to be able to exact judgment on him, but the Lord will take care of it. So the avenger of murder, which is the Lord, cares for the helpless. He does not ignore the cries of those who suffer. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, right? And that is the Lord who delivers, as David is saying, who delivers me from death, right? From near death. When you're at the gates of something, that means you're literally at the entrance of it. So what is likened onto being at the entrance of death? If you're safe in your house somewhere, comfortable and healthy, you're not at the entrance. If you're sick onto death, or your enemies are pursuing you, trying to kill you, that's like being at the gates, the entrance of death. But here, as David said, the Lord delivers him from that. Verse 14, that I may shew forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. At the entering of the gates, I will rejoice in thy salvation. See, so he's saying, deliver me so I can go and praise your name in public, right? I can make known your mighty works. I can give testimonies of all the great things you've done for me, and I can rejoice in the deliverance that you have brought to me. Verse 15, the heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. And what is that pit? That pit is ultimately, when people dig a pit, it's to be a trap. Okay, and that, like the patriarchs did to Joseph. But here, as David is saying, the heathen are sunk down in their own pit. Okay, they're going to suffer the kind of harm they try to cause to others. The Lord is going to have them suffer of it. In a previous chapter, it mentioned that let their counsel, in roughly paraphrasing, work against them. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The net is a snare, is a trap, and nobody leaves a trap in the open. It doesn't catch anybody if it's in the open. So you got to cover it up. You got to hide it. And the number one heathen who is guilty of this is Esau, the Edomites. And so in their trap that they're trying to set, the snare, it's going to come upon them. Verse 16, the Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. You want to see an example of that, go and read the book of Exodus. How was the Lord feared and revered and throughout the world? By the judgment he brought upon the Egyptians. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hageon, Selah. See? And and we're going to see that in this time again. Right? You're going to see that how the work of Esau's hands, which they're known as the wicked, in trying to achieve this new world order and in orchestrating different things in the world and all manner of iniquity, it's going to work against them. The wicked shall be turned into hell, that is, to be brought to the grave, and all the nations that forget God. And that's the fate of all those that forsake or forget the Lord. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. And who are the needy? The Lord's people, starting with his elect. Okay, but as it says, they're not always going to be forgotten, because it seems like that, right? From generation to generation, we've just had the short end of the stick, like being a forgotten people. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. So the hope of the poor is not going to be forever. They're not always going to be forever longing for it. Eventually, the Lord is going to hear them. That's the whole parable of the unjust judge. That at the continual crying of the widow woman, she, the unjust judge judged her case for her. So how much more for the Lord's elect? Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. So remind them, right, Selah, put them back in their place. Bring that divine heavenly judgment upon them, that they can remember their place, and know that they're just men. And that brings us to the end of the book of Psalms, the 9th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.